Today we have our better halves joining us. And I'm introducing to you the one that they called Mother Green, my better half, my wife, Shanta Green.
And my better half, she's my rock, and right next to Christ. She's right behind him, and I just excited to have my wife Markeda on the show.
Graduating high school, Ben came to my high school after graduation party. That's the first time I had seen him in years. We talked for a little bit, and then after that, I think you asked me on a date. It was pretty quick. He took me to work at KFC in his car, and he asked me to go on a date, and I agreed.
Yeah, I mean that's a very summarized version of it.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna take it.
Have much resistance.
Well, hold up. I'm gonna preface with this. I'm gonna let you take the lead, but on any details that I feel are important or mistold, I'm gonna interject.
See, and this is the reason why
We love each other.
Marcus at the time, he was a preacher. And so I have been raised in that environment, and I know game when I see it. So
You thought I was running game on you?
I don't know. Everything sound good and it sound perfect. And so I was just like, oh, I don't know about this guy.
And that raggedy phone.
And that raggedy.
What was y'all's first date?
We went to Granite City. And
it's a blind date. I got there first. We had talked back and forth on Yahoo Messenger back in the day. And she sent me a picture. I had no idea. I was totally fooled. She sent me a picture of Rihanna and said this was her. And I remember, I said, Joey, this girl looks just like Rihanna.
Oh my goodness.
And he was like, that is Rihanna.
Thank you for supporting Line of Judah podcast. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more content.
Faith music.
Back in my past, I was caught up in the chase. Late nights, bar tabs, mostly a blur to retrace. Girls came and went, left my heart in the knot. Empty promises stacking, was what I thought. Grew up in a broken home, mom's crying alone. Pop's not around.
Come on in, then, folk. Come on in. Welcome to another episode of the Lion Judah podcast. I'm your host, Marcus Green.
And I'm your co-host, Benjamin Miller.
And today we got the episode everybody's been asking for. I'm walking down the street like, hey, when y'all going to have this episode? I'm getting people in my DMs. When you going to have this episode? I'm just playing. But today we have our better halves joining us. I figured if we don't have anybody else on here, we should have on the people that know us best. And I'm introducing to you the one that they called Mother Green, my better half, my wife, Shanta Green.
Welcome to the show.
thank you guys. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for loaning your husband to the show for so many hours. I'm sure some of it is like, where are you at?
Right.
You ever come home? So thank you for that. It's a blessing to have you on.
Thank you.
And my better half, there's not enough words to say about this woman and what she's done for me in my life. But she's held me through ups and downs, highs and lows. Always been there through every struggle, through every celebration. Man, I could spend a whole hour talking about her, but she's my rock, and right next to Christ. She's right behind him, and I just excited to have my wife Markeda on the show, mother of my children. Been knowing her since my memory works, which isn't the best, but very young, grew up in church together, and so just a blessing to have you on the show to chop it up with us. Hopefully we can share some things today between the two couples here that will bless somebody, maybe help somebody who's either in a marriage or considering marriage or just looking to find Christ. So
Right.
just excited to be here with y'all today.
Welcome, ladies. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
And to kind of piggyback off what Ben said, thank you. Number one, Kida, we're in your home. So thank you for allowing us to turn what was a family space to a man cave to offices to pool room. Now it's our studio, and you allowed it. This doesn't happen unless you're okay with this, and so that takes a little bit of level of being selfless and allowing us to do this and to go in this endeavor of ministry. So thank you for um, putting the stamp of approval on here. Otherwise, we'd have been shooting from our car in a parking lot or something with a GoPro or something like that. So, but thank y'all for joining us. Finally, people have been asking when y'all going to come on here, and now we got y'all on.
What changed y'all's mind? How did you finally say, yeah, let's do it?
That pressure got us.
Right.
It's pretty much how I'm married. Just keep asking and asking
That's
and wearing them
true.
down.
True.
Say what
That's true.
resistance breaks down.
Resistance.
Persistence breaks down resistance. So just keep bugging them. That's
Right.
all it
Mhm.
was. That's how I got a second date. So, and I'm sure we'll probably go into our. As a matter of fact, that's a good place to start. Our histories. You alluded to it a little bit, and of course, I've been knowing both of you since I was able to recollect. So tell us about how y'all got to be.
Graduating high school, Ben came to my high school like after graduation party, and that's the first time I had seen him in years. And we talked for a little bit, and then after that, I think you asked me on a date. Like, it was pretty quick. He took me to work at KFC in his car, and he asked me to go on a date, and I agreed.
Yeah. I mean, that's a very summarized version of it,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna take
Didn't have
it.
much resistance.
I'll take it a little further back. So usually when I'm explaining our background to people, I start with the fact that I think first and foremost there was a friendship of myself, your brother Terrell, and obviously Marcus, and so we were like brothers growing up, and so you were just Terrell's little sister for the first 18 years of your life to me, or from when I started to know you. And so, yeah, I mean, fast forward, there's a whole lot of other stuff that happened along the way, but came back from my first year of college and saw your graduation, and the Lord had changed you for. I'm trying to keep it PG, but you were looking very fine on that graduation celebration, and there was definitely a desire in my heart to get you to the movie theater with me, and it's kind of funny because it was only maybe a month or so before that. I think that Terrell was complaining to me and some other individual. I don't remember who it was, but he's like, "Why does everybody want to come to me and ask if they can take Keita on a date?" And so that kind of rung in my head whenever I had that thought. And I'm like, well, I'm not gonna ask Terrell because he said that. I'm just gonna do it. And so I picked her up to go to the movies, and he was out jogging. And so we were driving down the street to go on this date, and he was over there and he saw me. So I pulled over, and he's like, he was kind of stunned. He's like, Keita, what are you basically, what are y'all about to do? And so we're like, well, we're going to the movies, and just kind of left it at that. And I mean, the rest is history. There wasn't a whole lot of resistance, thank the Lord. And it was one of those things. There's been a few instances in my life where I just knew the Lord was leading me in a direction because it was contrary to any of my own plans. My plans, if you'd have asked me at 18, 19, are you going to get married and when, it would have been like, yeah, probably, maybe in my mid 30s, I'll get married. And so
Mid-30s, you gonna wait that long?
I was just trying to have fun.
Right.
I was an idiot. We're all pretty dumb at 18, 19. And so I knew when the Lord was dealing with me about marriage, I'm like, man, this has got to be God, because this is not anything that I would be thinking about. And so I heeded that direction, and I'm just thankful that He impressed it upon you too. And there's definitely, I mean, we'll probably get into it more, but there's been ups and downs. It hasn't always been cupcakes and roses and celebrations, but the Lord has always got us through. So I'm just thankful to have been blessed. Bible says a man that finds a wife finds a good thing, and man, I found a great thing. So
How long y'all been married now?
coming up on 23 years in just a couple weeks.
Goodness.
Yep.
We're gonna
Time
get
flies.
there someday. We're gonna get there someday.
Yeah.
Not far from it.
No.
No.
So what about y'all? Like
Woo.
I've heard your side of it multiple
Yeah,
times.
I'll let you. I do enough talking on here, so I'll let you tell it. Get you some mic time.
Oh goodness. Yeah, we do have a pretty colorful story, I would say.
Well, hold up. I'm gonna preface with this. I'm gonna let you take the lead, but on any details that I feel are important or mistold, I'm gonna interject.
See, and this is the reason why
We love each other. No, I'm gonna let you tell it.
Oh my goodness. So I actually met Marcus through Naja, my best friend in high school. She was getting married. And so we were planning her bridal shower, and I was planning it with Naja,
My pastor's
who's
daughter.
his pastor's daughter. And we were just sitting down eating and talking, and she was like, "Hey, I have someone I want you to meet." And I'm like, "Okay." And somehow we exchanged, or she provided me with his number, and he called me, and we ended up going out on a date.
You already know where I want to go. I thought it was a good day, but she was after a mere 3 hours, she was like, "Nah, we could be just friends."
Yeah.
And so I remember I went over to y'all's house on y'all's first house afterwards, and I'm feeling good and whatnot, and talking to her on the phone because I even got kind of ridiculed even to getting a new phone. I had an old raggedy phone that wasn't even a flip phone yet, and that day I went and bought a new phone. Like, oh, she thinks this phone is whack. Let me get another one. So I'm talking to her after that date, and she's like, "Oh, no, I don't think it takes that long to know if someone's for you or not." And I'm like, "For real?" So I was about to leave y'all's house and go on to my house and close the blinds and cry or do something, but that was the point. She dismissed me after our first date.
I did, and part of the reason is because Marcus at the time, he was a preacher, and so I had been raised in that environment, and I know game when I see it. So
you thought I was running game on you?
I don't know. It just everything sound good, and it sound perfect, and so I was just like, oh, I don't know about this guy.
And that raggedy phone.
What was y'all's first date?
We went to Granite City,
and it's a blind date, and I got there, and first, like, we had talked like back and forth on Yahoo Messenger back in the day, and she sent me a picture. I had no idea. I was totally fooled. She sent me a picture of Rihanna and said this was her. And I remember I said, "Joey, this girl looks just like Rihanna."
Oh my goodness.
And he was like, "That is Rihanna." But I didn't know and then she finally sent me a real picture. So I was kind of, I knew what she looked like, but at the same time, like, someone could look so well on a computer and then in real life be, completely different. So I was sitting there waiting. I'm like, oh man, is that her? No, that ain't her. So she walked in. I was like, yeah, that's gotta be her. And I was hooked from then. At that time, the finest woman I ever had to go on a date with. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is her. So I was smitten immediately.
That's so sweet.
Could you tell when you showed up, like, I got him hooked already?
No, not really.
I try to play it all.
Yeah,
I try to play it cool a little bit.
He played it cool.
I couldn't put all my cards on the table, but
he sounded real good when he was talking. I can't remember exactly what you were talking about, but it was just perfect.
I know you were annoyed because I ordered the same thing that you did.
Yeah. And I'm like, I want somebody that's a little different.
And you said you wanted like someone who was churchy but edgy.
Yeah.
Like go to church and still smoke weed or something. So I was like, nah, I ain't got no edge on me. So,
Oh, man.
but that was
Did I really say that? That's terrible.
that you wanted someone who was churchy but had an edge. Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't say the weed
No,
part.
no, I threw that
Okay.
out there. I said that just to make you laugh. So
Oh, okay.
you didn't say that.
I'm like, I know it's been a while, but geez.
But that was our first date. And
That was our first date.
And after the Lord dealt with her heart and talked to aunties and whatnot and friends.
Yeah.
So that was February of 2008. And fast forward to June of the next year is what, a Tuesday? Because y'all no, a Monday, because y'all had Bible study like right after Sunday, right? Yeah, that's whenever, like after so many dates and trying to reel her in, she was supposed to be in Bible study, texted me, and I was in my apartment. She's like, all right, well, I guess we can give this a try. And so I was, man, if I had a camera to show like me dancing and celebrating.
I can already imagine.
Yeah.
So we've been rocking ever since. Although she tried to break up with me one time.
Oh.
And when I say I'm not ashamed to say I was crying. That Jody song, Cry for You, that was me. Baby, I'm begging, baby. I'm begging, begging, baby. That was me. And we righted the ship. And it's been rocking ever since. And been, Lord willing, we'll be together 17 years. And Lord will next month be married for 16 years.
Bless.
Yeah.
2 kids later, and they're sitting over there at the desk. Shout out Mila and Micah, our little junior producers. I see you, son.
So to be together 16 years, 17, I guess, together, but married 16. And how do you survive an almost breakup and a dude with a raggedy phone and all the other, obstacles that the world throws your way? I think just trying to get into the meat of
What's the secret?
Substance for the audience is how have y'all managed to get to this point? Because I'm sure it hasn't been a perfectly smooth ride.
We didn't have to tell you after y'all have been married longer than we have, so it's no secret to us. God's as the center of everything. I did not. You don't really know the things of God whenever you hear it at first. And the old saints say you'll understand it better by and by. After I'd gotten married, I understood why God holds marriage so sacred. I could not. I feel like I could not go back. God forbid something happened, and we're no longer married. I don't see how that works. This is it. This is one and done. Like I found my one of one. Anybody who's able to, find someone else outside of another marriage, God bless them. But I don't see how that works for Marcus Green. And just how Christ kind of uses the church as a marriage. It shows you how sacred he holds matrimony, because he equates his people as his bride. And if Christ holds marriage in that regard to where he views his church as the bride, then I've got to hold my bride all that close. I can never love her as much as Christ loved the church, but I see why God holds it in such high regard. And to treat my marriage, to treat your spouse as less than what they ought to be treated, to love them less than what they ought to be loved. I'm like, man, I can't. And I know I would love to think that I'm the best husband, best spouse there is. I know I have my shortcomings, and even in my private time, like, Lord, show me where I'm going wrong, and I don't want to mishandle what you've blessed me with. And especially because being a girl dad, I want my daughter to see the example of what to look for in a husband. And because I was never able to um, meet her father, um, I want to make sure that, like, if her father were to see me, that he would approve of how I'm treating his daughter and loving her. But long answer short, Christ has been the center of our union from day one. I wouldn't even when we were dating, I wouldn't allow myself to look at her with lust, because I did not want to go about this the wrong way. I wanted to treat it as precious and as sacred as I could. And just keeping Christ the center of our union has really carried us through.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think before we even got together, um, I had numerous prophecies of your husband's on his way. I mean, I could literally, and I actually have journals where I've written down things that people have told me. And when I look back on it, truly describing him. And so I think that was an act of grace um, from God, sending all of these people telling me he's coming, he's on his way, this is what he's going to look like. I almost messed up. But, as I started veering off, he would send someone back to reel me in just to confirm. And then he used the people that I trusted the most, that had, my ear. And so I had to speak. It was on I think it was on a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
My uncle was a pastor of a church, and he asked me to speak at his church. And he said, something special is going to happen for you. And I'm like, okay. And when I think about this, whenever someone asks me to do something in church, even though I've been in church my whole life and I've held so many roles in ministry, if someone asks me to do something, my first thought is always no. It is. But this time my uncle asked me to speak. And so I said, okay. And I told Marcus that I was speaking that Sunday. And he said, I'm coming. And I didn't even ask him to come. He just said that he was coming. He told me he was coming. Mm-hmm. So he came, and because it was my family's church, all of my family were there. And so my family loved him, and they raved about him. And as a matter of fact, as I walked outside the church, one of my cousins was like, I bet you $20 that's your husband. And I'm like, oh, I don't know.
She ended up paying up. She did.
I did actually pay her. But even though I kind of still had some doubt, I think God saw that, and he knew, I don't want her to mess this up. And so one day I was speaking to my aunt, and we were at her shop because she had a clothing store. And she sat down with me for 2 hours long talking about Marcus, how she loved him so much and how he was great and he was going to be a great husband, and go on a date with him and whatnot. And I said, okay. And so after talking to her, and her basically telling me, take a second look at this guy, because if you don't, you're going to be missing out. And she said, Shante, she said, I see the way that he looks at you. And she said that he is really going to truly value you. So she said, give him a second chance. And I said, okay. And so we went on another date. And, that date turned into another date and another date. And so the thing that has held us together, fast forwarding, is that I have had confirmation after confirmation after confirmation that this is him. I have it written down in a book. This is what he's going to be like. This is his character.
Didn't somebody say that he was in the South?
I don't know if someone said he was in the South, but they said he was dark skinned. He had this person told me that he may have glasses. At the time you didn't have glasses, and now look at him. He has glasses. I had someone literally tell me he's going to take good care of you. He's going to do this. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, and I'm not going to throw all that out there because I'm Eddie Mae's child. And I'm not going to tell you how good I got it. But I will say that everything that I was getting from just random people at random times really turned out to be true. And so when we are in those seasons where I'm like, I don't know, this dude is getting on my nerves, I reflect back to, those moments where people were leading me and guiding me, and God was sending that confirmation that this is him.
Mm-hmm. Now you locked in.
Yeah.
I got your name tattooed on my rib. I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah. And your name is tattooed in my heart.
I'll take that. So what's been for y'all? What has kept y'all going together as a unit for 22 years?
God, definitely, first and foremost. Coming from a single parent home, I didn't really know what it looked like to have a healthy, positive relationship. My mom never really wanted to date once her and my dad separated. She wanted to put us first, protect us. She didn't want us to be around strangers. But I always knew what I desired in marriage and in a husband. But for me, him and his word, he always kept his word. And I used to be like, Mom, do you think this person likes me or this person likes me when I was dating? And I never had to question that with him. Like, I had my own confirmation through God. And I think that was such a blessing for me. Mom said that when he asked her hand for my hand in marriage, she was like, you do this, she's spoiled. And when you ask for her hand, don't take it. I'm not coming to take it back. You can't take it back. And he said, I won't. And whatever you did, I'm going to take very good care of her. And so he used to tease me all the time because I'd be like a little frustrated about my dad being absent. So he's like, I'm your dad. I got you. Whatever it is that you need, I have you. I'll provide for you, take care of you. And so that has been a big thing also. I already knew him, kind of knew some of his character. We grew up together. His mom babysat me and things like that. So I already kind of knew his family in that way. But once I got to just really kind of know him outside of like him kind of being a big brother to me also was very different. I was just able to see him in a different light. We both had gotten in some trouble around the same time. So I think that kind of drew us together. We were like, we have to get away from some of the people that we were hanging out with and really grow close to God and kind of slow down. We were trying to do our own thing. And it was just like, God was telling me, yeah, you really need to get yourself together. There's a time where I just had broke down and crying like, Lord, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. We lived in a small town and we had some stuff going on. And he had called me. I think you were with Emily and you had called me and we had kind of talked about some stuff that we had gotten in trouble with together. And that's really kind of how we bonded in that way. But the same, if I'm kind of emotional or on a rant, like he can say things to me that it's like, okay, I'm able to calm down instead of kind of going off the handle. He knows exactly what to say. The Lord uses him for me in that way. Through our marriage, the first few years, like, what am I doing? Is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? Lord, do you really have me here? Sometimes I just be selfish and in my own mind, want to do things my own way, but just the way that he's patient with me, he's always kind to me and always reassuring me. Like, I'm here for you. I love you. This is God like put us together. So just mainly those kind of things for me. Is it his word, his confirmation? He always keeps his word and he's able to communicate very, very well with that. And being an example for our children. A great example for our children. Again, I didn't have that, so I'm like, I don't want you guys to ever take that for granted.
Thank you for all the kind words. Man, I got a lot to live up to. No, you alluded to it, but yeah, we both got in trouble. We were kind of the individuals that Marcus was talking about a little bit ago. We got arrested for some things we shouldn't have been doing, and even though we
I
were
didn't
raised,
get arrested. Okay, I just got to drive.
whatever. Let's get it clear.
He was set the record straight.
Right.
He was on some kind of probation.
Okay.
Nevertheless, the Lord had grace on us, gave us a slap on the wrist to kind of wake us up. And through that time, I was able to, you had gone through a very similar situation, I think the year before I got in trouble. And so, yeah, that kind of, we were able to kind of form a strong relationship through that because you had kind of been through, it was kind of a separating season in a sense where you feel like you got all these friends and then this thing happens and you're like, I got to get my life right. And when you step back from those things, you realize that the large group that you saw as friends was just associates because y'all did the same things. And so, man, that was like a season of grieving, but you were there as a real friend to help me get through it. And so, I think that really helped strengthen us early on. And then I also think I've mentioned this before, but just the fact that you were Terrell's sister. So it's like, man, this is a risky game I'm playing here. If I'm gonna do this, I've got to do it right, or it could not only end in this, my girlfriend, or at the time you're my girlfriend, but it could end in us breaking up and having a bad relationship. But then I could lose a lifelong brother and friend as well. So I was, even in seasons where we might not have been at a peak level as a couple, there was always that thing in the back of my mind, like, I got to do this right. Cause I can't mess this up and mess up this lifelong friendship as well. So I think that was an additional motivator. In addition to, I just love you and wanted things to go well. And so I think those things definitely strengthened us early on, helped us get through some tough times. And then it's just, man, life just brings so many different things that you don't even expect. There's been scenarios with our family and deaths in the family and people just at odds with one another, or scenarios where, our kids, I mean, y'all's kids are getting about to the age where I'm praying that things go smooth, but those teenage years, there's some obstacles that I didn't think we would ever face. And I pray nobody else has to ever face them, but it's just like going through that stuff and just having to deal with, you love each other, but there's a point where if something happened, you'd be like, all right, we're through. Mm-hmm. But you love these kids to a point where you never be through with your kids. I don't care what they did, no matter how bad it was, you would never bail on your kids. So my point is just, when something happens with your kids, it starts to draw y'all even closer together, because it's like, we gotta figure this out. We gotta, whatever the scenario is. And so I think going through some really trying things with our kids and just different scenarios had us drawn closer to each other and drawn closer to God, because there's some things that there's no fix. Mm-hmm. We can't just we do X, Y, and Z and the problem solved. It's like, no, there's no solution. It's just prayer and fasting, and so there was all those kind of scenarios. There was stuff. I mean, I went through seasons personally where I would, I've never been a person that really has, I would say, dealt with depression, but I've had seasons where the enemy will try to attack me. And so through those type of seasons, I know that I don't even think I really communicated this with you, but I would lean on you, just really just you being there. I was leaning on your strength, even though I wasn't vocalizing like, "Hey, you're getting me through this." There were seasons that was happening, and so it's just been one thing after another. I'm sure there's going to be another thing, over the course of the next year, and another thing the next year, and so it's just a blessing to have a partner in this journey where we're, the main thing is the main thing. We're seeking to see Christ's face, and we're chasing that together. And so we know we're not perfect, but at the same time, we're much better together. And I think, to your point, Christ ordained marriage and structured it in a way that we should be helping each other to that ultimate goal. And I think that's what we're doing. That's what we're striving for. And I think for anybody that's listening, that's struggling, if you just continue to keep Christ first and stay on your knees, he's going to get you through it. I'm confident no matter what it is, he can get you through it. So it's just a blessing. I've got one of the scriptures that I was going to bring up just as a talking point, and actually have it tattooed on my finger, is Ephesians 5:25, and it's, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her. And Lord willing, it won't come to that, but I can honestly say if it came to that, I'm willing to give myself. I'm willing to do it. So we were having a conversation on a side note last week, just really talking with my daughter about marriage and men and all these things. And I'm like, whoever comes and asks for that, that's going to be one of the questions is, if I'm going to give you my daughter, if I'm going to hand my daughter to you, are you willing to do what I'm willing to do? Mm-hmm. And it's a big ask.
Yeah.
And so, it just, with marriage and children and all of it together, I think it helps us better understand who God is and better understand his love. And, it's just amazing, quite honestly, the amount of love that he's bestowed all of us, that he has for all of us, and that he continues to have for all of us, even in our mess, even in our failures, our sin, all of it. And so, when the Bible says in Ephesians, love your wife as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her, I mean, that's sacrificial love. So you got to be willing to really sacrifice, at the most extreme sense, your life. Like, he loved us, that he died on the cross for us. He's not asking for any less out of husbands when they're loving their wives. So I know I've fallen short. I'm doing my best. I'll never live up to a Christ level love, but that's what we're called to do.
And that love that he calls us to have for our wives, it is shown in so many different ways. Where Christ gave himself for the church, and we got to give ourselves. We have to, and if anyone asks, Marcus, what's the secret of being married and whatnot, I'll say, study to be quiet. You may have something you want to say all the time, and I've told you this before. I don't have to be heard all the time. Sometimes I just want to, like, for the sake of peace, just shut my mouth. And I'm sure you've done the same thing. You could either be right or y'all can be happy. Sometimes the argument's not worth the quiet tension in the arguments. So Christ didn't have to go back and forth with us. Just Christ loves us enough to be like, you know what, you got it. Let's just be peaceable. The Bible says be peaceable with all men. So I've got to sometimes just be like, all right, whatever it is to make her not not like me. So no, we love each other, but sometimes you don't like
Absolutely.
you don't like him. Like, and just I don't want to look at your face sometimes. Now, certainly you felt that way towards me. I know.
Oh boy, oh boy.
See,
We might have a counseling session on deck.
And I said before we started, this ain't gonna be no therapy session. But I know sometimes she hasn't liked me, and sometimes I haven't liked myself. But because I want to put her first, then I've got to shut down my baser instinct to want to say something. And like it's right at the tip of the tongue. Even if I'm right, if I know without a shadow of a doubt that I'm right, sometimes just Marcus, just be quiet. You don't have to. I don't want to try to prove her wrong for the sake of proving her wrong. I don't want to like told you so, gotcha. And Christ wouldn't do that. So why should I do that? You know, so that scripture. And I said that one time to her, and I think you said it shut down like an argument we're having. I told you, I'm just trying to love you like Christ loved the church, and I like ended the conflict. I don't know how serious it was, because I don't even remember. She told me about it, and I don't remember doing it, but she told me about it. Like, yeah, sounds like something I'd say. So if we just focus on that, like try to love our wives like Christ loved the church and gave himself for it, then we wouldn't be so pig-headed on trying to get our point across and trying to be like, oh well, no, you gonna listen to me. No, just do everything with love, and love will handle itself. The Bible said love covers a multitude of sin. If he'll cover sin, then carry a marriage. Just pump your brakes sometimes and study to be quiet.
Man.
I feel like you do a good job with it.
Shutting up.
No, you do a good job with showing up, you know. And from the very beginning, you were willing to do things that other people that I've dated before in the past didn't do. You always showed me that you were interested. And I didn't have a doubt that you liked me and then eventually loved me.
I loved it pretty fast.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, over a year after dating. No, it was like a couple months into it. I was like, this is it.
Yeah.
And
so when people say that the man just knows or whatnot, I feel like we really truly had that experience where he was certain. And that's the thing that I loved about you, is that you were certain, you were sure about me. I didn't have to wonder, if.
So Maxwell said, don't ever wonder.
Don't ever wonder. Yeah. I didn't. And I could appreciate that. And I appreciate that now. So you still continue to show. I know that I can depend on you. I know that you love me. And you show me in various ways, not just, providing and things like that. And just, you show me that you care about my emotions. And so even if you get it wrong, you try your best to get it right. And that's the thing that matters most to me. So
thank you, baby.
You're welcome.
Just with emotions, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Like a whole lot. But it's worth it though. Thinking of the alternative, and y'all know that I was engaged before, and like to show how what God wants versus what you want, how I felt in my other engagement is not even, and I don't mean to speak ill of the other young lady, but I didn't feel a fraction of what I feel for you. Like even in my highest point, I was like, I don't know how to describe it, but it wasn't it wasn't a piece of what we have. And that should have let me know right there that God has something for me that I wasn't in at the time. I was not in his will. I was in Marcus. And I even admitted to myself, like, well, maybe I can change her. And I don't know how many millions of couples throughout the course of time, someone thought that they could change somebody else whenever they didn't. They may not have thought they needed to change or anything, or thought they were just fine, but they're thinking, no, I can change them. That was me. And no, lo and behold, of course, that ended badly. And but thank the Lord for taking me out of situations that we put ourselves in, and it may have cost me some thousands on that ring, but well, I saved thousands on divorce lawyers and whatnot. So
Yeah, man. It's you said something right there that I think um, maybe we should elaborate a little bit more on or expand on, which is obviously you were engaged once, wasn't what God had for you, and then now you're married. And so I know there's a lot of young people out there that are want to be married, which is a good thing to aspire to do. But as they're looking for somebody, as they're without throwing anybody under the bus, we're not trying to badmouth anybody, but what are the characteristics that you feel like are non-negotiables that people should be first and foremost consider these if there's three things, what would y'all say are those non-negotiables? And this is not just for y'all two, but
I'll say,
chime
and
in.
people who, of course, are probably our audiences, probably have a belief in Christ. Bible says, how could two walk together except they agree? One person, or that scripture about being unequally yoked. Um, it can't be. Y'all got to be going in the same direction. Even if one is a little bit more headstrong and more, we may say, further along than somebody else, or whatever. But as long as you are both going in the same direction, I can't be going straight and Shantae want to go left. Then we're not going to arrive at our destination together because I'm going one way, she's going the other way. Whether it's a relationship in Christ, whether it's how you want to raise your family, what do you want to do in the business, whatever, y'all have got to be on the same page. I think that's like number one. Because if you're not on the same page, then you know, say, oh, I want to raise our kids Baptist, or I want to raise them Muslim. How's that going to work? And somewhere along the line, someone's going to have to compromise on what they hold dear. And I'm just glad that I didn't have to compromise on something like of that much importance to me. Some folks that may not think it's important. God bless you anyway. But people who were a couple who were raised up in the church, Christ is the center of our life. Even if we weren't married to each other, Christ was the center of our life. So to keep from compromising on that, we both had to be going in the same direction. How do we want to go about this? Do you want to have a godly marriage? You want to have raise our kids in church and everything? That's number one, being on the same page. What do you think?
I agree. Number one, making sure that you have Christ as a foundation. Um, I would say have some trusted people in your lives that can see beyond what you see. Because when you're in love, that's all you see. Oh, it's all the feels and whatnot. But sometimes you could be actually missing, those red flags because you're in la la land or you have the rose colored glasses on. And so I think it's important to have some people around you that can be honest with you and say, hey, I don't know about him. Keep your eye out on him, or I noticed this. So I think it's important to make sure that you have someone trusted around you. Um, let's see here.
I would say, and this is like really opened up a whole new level of intimacy with her. And I'm not talking about like intimacy. I'm just talking about just being more aware of each other. And this is probably the hardest thing. Be vulnerable. Um, she knows where the bodies are buried with me. And it took me years to be able to come to grips that I can trust her with my ugliest self. And we don't like to show that, and I feel like it's probably human nature. We don't want people to see the absolute worst of us. But if you allow that person to see you in your most vulnerable state, then they know that you've bared your all and you're not holding anything back. And like that level of relationship, whenever you've shown them your just worst worst version of you, oddly enough, that allowed me to love her more because I'm like, she sees us and still loves me and didn't run away from it. And I'm like, wow, if she can do that, then everything's good. We can work through anything if she can work through seeing me in my most repugnant and horrible version of me, and it didn't run her off. That's love. And some folks, if you show them something that's a little bit distasteful for them, and they be like, oh no, I can't do with that. Well, then they weren't for you in the first place. But if I've heard it saying, if they can't love you at your worst, they don't deserve you at your best. I know now that down the line when we're rolling in the dough and doing whatever and living our absolute best life, I could trust you beside me because you saw me in my pit. And if I can't show you my worst, if I can't be vulnerable with you, then what we doing here? We just putting on masks, being married. Just if I can't show you, even if it's not a part of me now, still show you this is where I came from. Can you deal with my baggage? And you got to learn to trust them. Trust that they can. If they can't deal with it, well then you finding that out is of advantage to you. You need to find someone who can deal with you at your lowest point. And if they can, hey, build off of that. Then there's nothing that can stop you. If they left you at your absolute worst, then they can rock with you whenever you're on your way up.
But I feel like that's the reason why when you're dating someone, you need to date them through various seasons.
Yeah.
So that you can know exactly how they are in each season. So I think that's important.
Yeah.
That's our three things.
Keita, what you got?
I think show me some fruits of the spirit. And being able to communicate with someone, being upfront about, hey, this is me, this is what I'm looking for. Even early on, talking to my daughter and my son, if there's things that if you're dating to marry and you guys don't agree with, it's okay just to be friends. If people change their minds about certain things as well, but fruits of the spirit, that and being vulnerable. There's things with him where I was like, ooh, if he really does know years down the line, is he going to be able to handle it? Shame that I brought on myself. Like if we get into an emotional state, then my thoughts are making me think things that instead of communicating with him, I'm thinking, oh, he's going to think this, he's going to think that. But instead of talking through it with him and allowing him to really see me and be vulnerable is huge. But yeah, right, just those three things.
So fruits. Shantae said something earlier about she'd seen maybe some ministers or something just run a game. So I just want to clarify that for everybody watching, just because you can quote a couple scriptures, that is not fruits.
Right.
There are a lot of people out here quoting scripture that have no fruit.
Mhm.
So please
Have the form of
pay close
godliness.
attention.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people that have a very outward appearance of Christianity, but lack all the fruits. So
Mhm.
I think that's very important what you just said. Allow someone's actions to speak to you more than what kind of words are coming out of their mouths. There's a lot of people that can talk really good. They can say things that sound great. But if you just give it a few seasons, like you said, watch, see if the action lines up with the words that sound real good, then maybe you're onto something. But if the actions repeatedly contradict the words, it's probably time to move on.
Yeah.
So
See how he gets upset, you know?
mm-hmm.
If he's
Now,
punching in walls and things like that before you get married, what do you think he's going to do afterwards?
Right.
So,
but I also think that that's kind of dependent on the situation. I may be mad, like real mad at something. Oh, they, crashed my car or something, and I didn't know. And that's actually happened to me. Someone crashed my car. I thought that was the maddest I've ever been in life. Ever someone borrowed my car to go get his hair cut and didn't tell me that he got in an accident with my car, and I get a letter in the mail from my insurance company and see that he's on my insurance. Like, dude, how are you on my insurance? Oh, I was going to tell you, I had an accident in your car. I was heated. But when something else happened down the road, that little thing that I got mad about at the car was nothing compared to how I was mad at this later situation. So, seeing how they get mad, I think that depends on what the situation is.
yeah.
I was like, I blew my top the other time. I
Well,
wish
I've
I
never
was
seen
a
that.
no. You ain't never seen that. So I think it depends on the situation. You've never pushed me to that, and I don't see how you could ever do that. I
Yeah,
mean,
because I'm not trying to patch up walls. I mean, I like DIY projects, but every
Yeah.
other week because you upset? No.
and I think whenever you're in something that is God ordained, and that you want to take care of and cherish what God gave you, you won't allow yourself to get that emotional, that carried away. Um, have you made me mad over the course of 17 years? Yeah.
No.
All right, I'm gonna say mad. You've upset me from time to time, but it's very rare. But definitely have not made me to the point where I'm, boiling and spitting, cussing, and kicking, and anything like that. And I think that's goes with being in God's divine will. Yeah, you'll get angry. The Bible says, "Be angry, but sin not." So it's an emotion. We're born with it, but I don't think there's ever been or will ever be a time where I'll be anywhere close to where that dude crashed my car. That was
So I'm just curious. We don't have to go into great detail here, but he brings your car back and you don't notice damage to
no.
the car?
It wasn't. It was just like a trading paint, like they say. He just bumped somebody else or whatever, and he didn't have no insurance. And I guess he's like, "Hey, well, put it on the car or something." And I don't know I don't know how it's even legal, but I just get my statement in the mail, and I'm like, "What's this dude's name doing on my insurance card?"
Why
And he
my
did.
premium shoot through the roof?
I don't know how nothing was told to me, and he didn't tell me anything. And it was probably a couple weeks until I talked to him again. This is when I was still in the Air Force. We worked together, but yeah, I was heated. But we good now. If you watching, we good now. You know who you are. We good now. That was something I was going to ask y'all.
I wanted to say, I think it's important to have discipline. Like, I know coming up in the church, whenever we thought about discipline, it was in the form of, intimacy and, not, abstaining from, relations. I'm trying to be PG because the kids are here. But I feel like discipline goes a lot deeper than just that. Because when you get married, you need to be disciplined on the opposite side of that, making sure that your husband is taken care of, because a lot of times you have a lot of external things happening, and it takes your mind and your attention away from him, and you become more focused on the kids and whatever else that you have going on. But it's important for you to have already established that and become acquainted with being disciplined, so that when you are in marriage, you can be in a position to where you're consistent. You're consistent in taking care of your husband. You're consistent in taking care of your kids. If God blesses you to be in a situation where he's the breadwinner, when he gets his paycheck, it doesn't go all to getting your hair and nails done. You're being responsible in that manner. And I think the sooner you start disciplining yourself, the better. And I think it only helps your marriage as you continue to go on. So
Yeah, that's a good point.
yeah,
That makes sense. For us, now that the kids are older, it's probably Aaliyah's senior year and Ben's senior year. We were kind of like, we focus so much on the kids. Like, what are we going to do now? Do we have to kind of learn each other all over again without all of the external things? And so going on dates every week and just kind of hanging out with each other made a big difference. But having that discipline before, like you said, otherwise we'll be like, who is this man?
yeah,
I think that's what's so important about, and you're talking about y'all, of course, y'all were friends first. And, we were friends for a year. That's so important to where, if there's no, intimate relationship, like, relations and whatnot, you're not just leaning on the physical side. You know this person. You can be friends. So even if, something happens and I'm in a wheelchair and I can't go out and have fun and go to the movies or do whatever, we already have enough in the bank from being friends first before we were, partners. So yeah, that's so important that you all know each other on so many levels more than just physical stuff. And yeah, when the kids are gone, y'all ain't just sitting around. All right, whatever. You're using the kids as a buffer, instead of actually trying to know that person that you're with and have a relationship with them.
yeah. And you want to be committed, and I think that discipline comes in with that as well. Because when you get married, you don't want to just try and figure it out. You're going to end up in divorce court, trying to figure out how to be committed to your spouse. So those are things that you want to learn prior to. And I think that it may seem like it's a heavy weight, but it's really freedom on the other end. So you're you might seem like you're in bondage in a way, because you are. You're saying no to different things, but then when you get married, there's a freedom that comes with that. You don't have so much weight from or baggage from previous relationships and whatever else that comes with that. And so I think that only helps to advance your relationship with your husband or wife.
Yeah, I think kind of what you were saying, as the kids got out of high school and we're like, what do we do next? What are we going to do with our time? It's I think you got to be just thoughtful, kind of to your point about being there for your spouse, um, coming up with ways to just keep things fresh and new and interesting. Um, I think one of the biggest things for us in the last couple of years is the business, starting a business. And so, for anybody that doesn't know, now Keita is my boss. And so she's always been the boss lady around the house, but now she's the boss lady within the business. And I just joke, I mean, we're just doing it together. And so we're just operating a totally different aspect than we ever have before, because now not only did we partner to raise kids and we brought our lives together, but now we're literally doing business together. And so I think it's just shown us both a different side of each other, which is interesting. Just to, you be with someone for 20 years and you think you know them, but there's always more sides to explore. And I think with the business and probably just maybe just maturity in our own lives, I feel like our level of communication now is, light years greater than it was when we first were married. For some of the reasons that we've already mentioned, which is just transparency. But I just, that's probably first and foremost the best way to have a strong relationship, in my opinion, is to have that very clear, thorough communication. And I know there's times I catch myself just, my brain's always locked into some gear, whether it's what are we going to do with the podcast setup, or what's the next move with the business, or what's going on with the kids, whatever it might be. So sometimes I really have to like shut my brain up so that I can listen to what you're saying to me. And I know that you've had a lot of grace with me, because at times I'll catch myself like I'm daydreaming on the business thing or the podcast thing, and you're talking to me, and I'm like, man, I gotta put you ahead of all that stuff. And that's, it's a challenge, but it's a discipline, that when we listen to one another and we share with each other what's going on, it just, things are so much easier. Everything's so much smoother, because you know what's going on in my head. Like I think I used to, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but I used to, like, if I'm going through something, I'm gonna go through it. I don't need nobody to help me get through this. I'm not going to tell nobody I'm going through this. I'm just going to be tough, and I'm going to grind it out. And I think now I pretty much share with you, this is how I'm feeling. This is what I'm dealing with. Like, this is a lot. This is a load I'm carrying. Like, I'm just praying that the Lord do this, this, and this. And so I think through that communication with one another, the other thing it allows us to do is, we pray together, but I know that throughout my day I'm praying. I know throughout your day you're praying at times. And so it allows us to kind of carry each other in prayer even when we're not together. So just communication is so critical. I don't know how to emphasize that any greater, but what's your thoughts as far as like our progression over the years,
Uh,
specifically to communication?
when we were younger, probably maybe first through 5 years of marriage, your communication was it was good, but not like what I wanted or what I was used to,
Right.
in the way that you communicated. And you were like strong, and I'm going to go through this, but there would be times where I could tell he's going through something, but it's like, you're not letting me in, but I still want to be able to cover you and to pray for you. And so that made it a little bit difficult at times, but through the years, just being able, I'm always talking and I'm always saying how I feel and what I need and things like that. So through the years, with the progression, you definitely have opened up more. Sometimes I'll see you doing something. If I say something, I'll say something slick just to see if you're really paying attention. Like, did he catch that or did he not catch it? But you've definitely done a great job and given me grace, and I've given you grace throughout it. But communication definitely is a huge thing. I think we just want to be able to, like, let me in and let me be able to help you and talk with you, spend time with you outside of all the things. Because at the end of the day, we do have Jesus, and then He put us together. All we have is each other. And I know that you have my back out of everybody, and vice versa. I know there's nothing that you wouldn't do for me. So,
And I think, there's, we've had these conversations before too, where it's like you're like frustrated with me because I didn't do something, and I don't know. I'm probably throw out a bad example, so correct me. You probably got many of them in your head that you can bring up, but like, let's say there's some old bag from McDonald's sitting on a table or something. We went out to eat, and I didn't put it in the trash, and so you have an expectation of me, like he's sitting right there, he's gonna put that in the trash, and I'm not thinking of it. I'm thinking of the next thing, like, oh, I got to get this done for this next project, and so I'm just off, and so you're mad that I didn't do this thing, but you're not saying anything about it. And so then it happens again, and then you're even more mad because I'm repeating this cycle, but it's something that we haven't discussed, and so it's like just a little bit of communication. We're way better at it now, but like you had expectations of me, and some of it is more like in your household you were raised a certain type of way, so there was an expectation that so and so does this, so and so takes the trash out, or so and so picks up the laundry or whatever. But in my mind, it's not even a thought. I'm going through the motions of my day. I'm not even thinking about that. So you're over here angry at me for not doing something and not telling me, hey, I would like for you to do this. And so I guess, can you shed some light on that, maybe a little bit more, like what could we have done different? How should we have handled it different? Or from your perspective, like, I'm sure my examples were terrible, so feel free to share real examples of where I failed.
I do think with some of that, and then sometimes even with the kids, like if I've been home with them all day, my expectation for him would be, oh, you see some of this stuff. Can you go ahead and pick it up and put it away when they were younger? And you to come home, but like overlook those things. And in my mind, I'm thinking, why didn't he just pick that up? Are we tripping over shoes? Why isn't he? But he's just like, I just got home from work. I want to spend time with the kids and relax. So a lot of it is expectation in our minds that we didn't talk about. Even sometimes with marriage counseling, there would be certain things that the man does this, this, and this, and the woman does this, this, and this, but it wasn't necessarily my expectations or my desires. It was kind of what we were taught and what we were brought up in on what we seen. So you just kind of take those roles on and fill that up. But we do talk a lot about now expectation. I even tell the kids, if there's somebody that you're dating, you expect this, you go ahead and tell them up front. Because in your mind, you're thinking, oh, they would do this or want to do that, and it's not there. And then there you go, and then it's eating me up, right? And I'm going to be quiet, and I'm just going to take it. But you can only take so much before, and then at the end of the day, it's some simple things. But again, it's just I've blown it up to this big, huge expectation. What do you guys think about like expectation / roles?
Basically, uncommunicated expectation results in conflict. Is kind of what we've experienced.
It's funny, with your story, I'm the opposite. So if I'm at home with the kids all day and Mark comes home, and let's say maybe, the dishes aren't done or there are toys on the floor or whatnot, he comes home, he picks it up automatically. He goes to the kitchen, and guess what he's doing? The dishes. Yeah. And he's military. So I know that is, that plays a part of it. But I see it the total opposite. I feel like, he's thinking I haven't done anything all day, and what is she doing with the kids?
You're taking offense.
But the truth of the matter is, this is my third time picking up toys. I've done the dishes before, or I've put the dishes up, and now these are the dishes after lunch or whatnot. And so we've had to have that conversation. I don't know if we're all the way there yet, because there's still a part of me that I want him to come home and just relax. He's been working all day. He has difficult, hard jobs. And I just want him to take a breather and then come and help me and whatnot, because I'm thinking about him in that instance.
So there's the other side of a coin there too. While you're saying that, I may be not acknowledging that, this is your third time doing the dishes, whatever, whatever. Also, and I've conveyed this to you, that I'm doing it so you don't have to do the
Right.
dishes.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you've been home with the kids all day, and that's why I'm doing it, because you've been dealing with them all day. And I
Right.
know, they could be a handful, and I don't want you to have to feel like you have to do all the housework or whatever. Even if I'm coming home from work, I still don't want you to feel like he just coming home and eating and don't know I've been working all day and he didn't do. I want to give you a break from managing the house all day long, and I'm coming in and trying to take up the slack. So it's not all like I'm viewing that you didn't do anything in the house all day. Majority of the time, it's that I just don't want you to have to clean up and do all the stuff and cook. And sometimes I feel bad, like, yeah, I come home all times of the day, whatever, between like 3 and 5, whatnot. And sometimes I feel bad, like, man, she's got to cook for me. And you're good about having, dinner ready by the time I get home, especially when I had to go to school and you had the kids all by yourself and all. I felt bad, like, man, I gotta really step in and do some more, even though I'm still just getting off of a job that's, very physically demanding, and my knees hurting and all this kind of stuff, and I'm dirty and I'm all this, got it cleaned up. I wanted to take some of the load off of you, and I felt bad, like, man, I this is all on you while I'm sitting down relaxing and getting my bearings together before this. To me, that don't sit right within me. I don't feel like, I should be coming home and kicking back. It'd be great to be able to feel like I can just come home and relax, but I don't want it to be all on you to get dinner ready, to get the kids together, get baths and all this kind of stuff. I've got to jump in there and do some stuff too.
Right. But that's why communication is important, because we're both on the same page, both thinking about each other, but we're seeing it in a different light.
Mm.
So
I love you.
oh, you too.
And something you were talking about that made me think, like, kind of the pressures of, the man in the house, and kind of, roles in the house and whatnot, and communicating. Like, she has talked me off the ledge so many times. Like, I've just finished my, apprenticeship for 5 years, for the past 5 years. And in those 5 years, I'm at school, and there's been times where I've never felt so dumb in my life than going through these math classes and other classes. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm going to pass this. If I don't pass this, I can't keep this job. If I can't keep this job, then what we going to do for income and, the house and all this kind of stuff. And all this stuff will be in my head. And it's like just snowballs from a small thought, a small little word, and it snowballs into something big. And there's been times where I've tried to like internalize that. And if I had to just talk to her, like, she's brought me down many a times, where she's like, just calm down. God's brought you through this. There's no need to worry. I mean, because with the job that I have, it was put in my lap. Folks in a union are like, oh, I've been trying to get into local for however many years, and I had to go. My daddy and grandpa, they were in the pipe fitters and this, that, and the other. And I applied for 2 years. None of that was for me. I came across somebody when I was working at another job, and they suggested it. I applied, and a couple months later I was in. So I didn't have the story that everybody else has. So she's been like, God put this in front of you with like no hardship to get to it. He gave it to you. So if he put you in this position, don't you think he'll bring you through school and all this kind of stuff? And in my moment, I'm like, okay, yeah, she's right. Calm down, Marcus, and just chill. You're doing all right. So communicating, even when I didn't want to communicate with her, and she could just read it on my face or read in my body language, that I'm not okay in that moment. I guess that's still nonverbal communication. She's able to pick up on my nonverbal cues that something was off, and she's been able to, reel me in, even if I think that I've got to do all this stuff to, provide as, the man of the house and do this, that, and the other. She still has not made me feel like I have to do that. I do that just because the example of my father that I saw, and a man working and all this kind of stuff, and all the typical, gender roles for the house or whatnot, which we pretty much stick to. I don't want her picking up, taking the trash out, or cutting the grass, and them roles. But she has allowed me to uh, serve in the role as, as the head of the house according to the Bible, and not really been, giving me no grief about it. It has not been hard to lead in the house, and sometimes where I do need a sounding board, like, and this is what I'm going through. I'm kind of stressing, because we do stress. We don't want to, worry and doubt. But sometimes life happens, and you start looking around the situation versus keeping your eyes on God. And sometimes you lose focus, and you forget whose hand you're holding on to carry you through the situation. And she's been my counterbalance to whenever the few times where I get like, oh, what am I going to do? She's been my voice of reason to calm me down and to keep me back, keep me focused, keep me back on track, and remember that God's got this. So, yeah, communicating, whether it's verbal or nonverbal, you can't internalize everything, because you'll give yourself an ulcer just swallowing that lump and thinking like, okay, I'm a man, I got to do this. And you're talking about like not being in seasons of depression. Sometimes I won't get depressed, but I'd have a lot of worry on me. And I'm like, man, how's this going to work out? I don't know how this is going to happen. Um, if you communicate, and God put her beside me for more than just being fine and giving me kids. So he gave her some wisdom and gave her a calming spirit, that and encouraging spirit as well, to let me know, hey, we're going to be okay. And sometimes if I hadn't heard that, I don't know what had happened. But you've talked me off quite a few ledges in our time together.
Yeah.
Thank God for her, right?
Right.
I forgot I was going to say too that you did experience when I started working nights, and you took over with the kids and took on some of that.
Man, that was tough. That was a season where we were just trying to make ends meet, which a lot of people I know are in that. And so I was working during the day, and then I come home at night, and then you'd leave and go to work at night, and it was just like a high and by, and basically like you're handing the baton, which is at that point it's just the kids. You goes, you're up, and man, that was tough. That I'm thankful we don't have to do that anymore, and that we're working together. Um, but that's a challenge. And then when the kids were young, it was, I think, a pretty good challenge too, because there were some things still working a lot. But raising the kids, I think in your mind it was lesser than, or you thought people viewed it as lesser than. I personally never viewed it as lesser than. I always viewed it as way more difficult than what I was doing, because I would come home, we would have Christmas break or whatever from work. I'd get a week or two off from work and be there all the time. It's like, man, I need a break from these kids. So you didn't get that. You did not get that break because you raised them. And so it's like, I just think that in itself is an amazing thing that you did, that you were able to do. And if anybody thinks that holding down the house and raising the kids is not a worthy endeavor, or is less than a man who's going to work and bringing home a paycheck. Like, you're crazy.
It's a hard
You've
task.
lost your mind.
Yeah.
Like, you had it way more difficult than I did, and that's not even worth discussing. But I just appreciate all that you were doing, because you were doing that, then you were going to work at night, and so we were doing the handoff, and so just man, those were some tough seasons, but the Lord got us through them. And yeah, He's never, to your point, you do stress sometimes, and then once you kind of get over it, it's like, man, you're almost frustrated with yourself. Like, why am I stressing on this stuff when God has never failed me? If I look in all my history and all my past, He's never failed me. But yet I'm going to stress like, oh, He's going to fail me on this one? No, he's not. So easier to say than to actually keep your mind locked in. But I did have one question that I was kind of, throughout the week, I was just quizzing some people on, hey, we're going to be getting together for the podcast. It's going to be, my wife and Marcus and his wife, and we've been married both of us have been married for, a combination close to 40 years now. So is there any questions or any topics that y'all want us to hit on? And so Lonnie, who's been on the podcast before, his question was, has there been times where Christ, obviously Christ is the center of our marriage, but has there been times where you've kind of veered from it, and how has that impacted things where you were maybe closer to Christ in this season than that season? And so I guess my first answer is just, and it's not even necessarily it's not even just with the marriage. I think it's just as my individual relationship with Christ, and also with the marriage. But it's like, when we've focused on putting Christ first and starting our day with prayer and just, doing our very best to serve God and fully surrender, usually things are going pretty well. Now, not that the enemy doesn't try to bring distraction or discouragement, but I feel like I've reached a point that I can really quickly kind of feel separation from God, like even in a smaller fractions of a sense. Not like I'm out here just wilding out, but it's like, if I go, I wake up late and I got to rush off and get to work, and so I don't hit my knees before I'm out the door. It's like, I really need to get focused, but I can just, little things throughout my day now, I feel the impact, and it's not anything tremendous, but I guess in trying to answer Lonnie's question, to me it feels like it's definitely smoother and easier when Christ is the first and foremost the focus of not just our marriage, but just of our everyday. So I'm curious what y'all think, or what your experiences have been.
I'll say, whenever I've not put Christ at the forefront, that's when, and I'm talking about me personally, but spanning from that, it affects my marriage. It affects how I treat my children. It affects my job. Whenever I don't put them there first with me, because it starts with me. If I don't put them first in my own personal life, I can't put them first in my marriage. It just doesn't match. So whenever I started putting what I wanted, what I thought, when I started putting me ahead of everything else, worst time of my life. I felt like everything was crumbling because I was chasing after what satisfied me, and it's not even it's not even like a creeping feeling. It's evident. Whenever you've been, and I'm by no means um, putting myself on a pedestal or nothing, but whenever you've been in this walk as long as I have, pretty much my entire life, of course, you grow and you mature in Christ as the years go on. Um, but it's not like it creeped in and I didn't know what was happening. Like, oh, what something's changed in my life. No, I knew immediately. And it wasn't until I recentered and got Christ back in its proper place, then the effects did reach my marriage and everything else, and everything started to fall back in line. But in terms of as a union, um, if we've kind of not put Christ in his proper place, I don't think that we've allowed anything to really um, usurp his place. And unless there's something that you can think of that I haven't, I think that we've been very intentional on making sure God was the focal point. Now, yes, we've had rough times and whatnot, and that's not saying that we haven't continued to make the main thing the main thing. Um, Matter of fact, I felt like whenever we were, what was it, last year or year before, we did read through the Bible in a year.
It was last year.
I felt like that was like peak. I don't want to leave from this, because not only were we intentional about being in God's word individually, it brought us together as a couple because we started discussing the Bible and stuff that although we've been in church our entire life, stuff that we never really focused on before or really realized. And, those scriptures that you would hear in church that people will say it, but it's not right. Like, um, the battle's not the race is not given to the swift or the battle to the strong, but those who endure to the end. That's not what the Bible says. It says a time and chance will happen to us all. The part where it's like, oh, those who endure to the end. I don't know who threw that in there, but that's not what it says.
Is that a song?
Maybe, I don't know. But we'll be reading stuff. You're like, babe, do you know the Bible says this and this is, and especially when I started focusing more on explaining and understanding God's triune nature, and I'll be pointing out there like, there's a Trinity right there. This is the angel of the Lord that's acting as Yahweh, speaking as Yahweh here, and this then, and we would start discussing stuff that we would get excited about seeing things in the Word that we never noticed before, and that like put us at peak relationship of God in our marriage. And like I said, we were very intentional about that, and I don't think that we've ever really allowed anything to, I said, take his place. We just continue to, keep him at the forefront. And even in times whenever we didn't do it as effectively and frequently as we should, it's not been something that was prolonged to where um, it affected us, at a high clip. But I don't think that we've really saw any other option. It was God is first in this, no matter what. So that's probably one of the best things that we've ever done is make sure that Christ was uh, the focal point of our union.
And I think I kind of see it almost like a triangle, with God being at the very top. I'm on one side and you're on the other. And as we are aiming to get to God, we are getting closer to each other. And I really felt that more last year than any year that we've been together. How he brought us closer and how we were seeking to know him, not based off of what grandma told us and what we knew, from times past and what the preacher said, but we were really truly seeking to know him for ourselves. and to read the Bible in a way that was authentic. So
And that I feel like we're able to get through, different seasons in life, and we've talked off camera of stuff that we've gone through, and um, that has helped solidify us together, because we were seeking God together but separate, if that makes sense. We were doing our own reading, and I was on the same reading plan you were on, because my plan would have me reading so many more scriptures a day versus yours, but it was still, the end game was still the same. And getting closer to God like that, it solidified us whenever we had unexpected curveballs thrown at us, and we didn't act out of pocket because we had, as a unit, gotten closer with God, and sought after His face and His will together, and I didn't act like Marcus wouldn't act. Shante didn't act like Shante wanted to act, but we were solidified and secure in our relationship with God to handle different seasons of our life that may have come unexpectedly, or thought that we didn't know, that how in the world are we going to go through this, navigate through this. Well, we had prepared for it beforehand without even knowing it, by just drawing closer to God together, and it just not being me. I'm so thankful that it wasn't just like, well, I'm gonna do my own reading on my own time, she's gonna do her own reading and whatnot. No, we made it intentional that we were going to study, and I'm not immediately about to go into our scripture.
yeah, I was thinking it.
But we were very intentional about knowing what to expect from God based on His word, what He expects from us, and just growing together in it. And it has carried us through so much, especially in stuff that we've gone through here lately. It's carried us through. So we wouldn't dare uh, let Christ fall from his position in our marriage.
But it sounds like, as you've maybe to kind of hit back on Lonnie's point, you have seen a closer connection to each other as you've drawn closer to Christ.
Absolutely.
So it's not so much that you've veered from Christ and experienced that you are veering from one another, but it's the opposite. As you've drawn closer to Christ, it's drawn you all closer together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like the word says, let what God's brought together, let no man tear asunder. If God's brought us together, then we were. I kind of see it in your triangle analogy. I could see us as we're trying to get closer to Him. He's holding us closer. It's like you're getting to the same goal, but with different focuses. There's focus on Christ, but as we're moving closer to Him, He's bringing us closer together. And outside stuff doesn't have room to get in and to separate us from it.
But don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted. We didn't just wake up and say, "Oh yeah, I'm just gonna read the Bible in a year."
It was a process. Sometimes it was out of necessity, and sometimes it's just off of curiosity of wanting to know His word more. But
in trials and tribulations.
Yeah, life.
I mean, goodness
happens.
gracious, we had everything thrown at us, and I'm like, Lord, I gotta know You, because something's wrong, And I think that was the motivating factor for me. And then you had already started, and so I feel like we just work well together. Like, if you plan something and I, decide that I want to do it as well, we get to the point where I won't give up because you're still going, and then vice versa. I feel like we work well in that manner. But if I probably would have been, maybe wouldn't have made it all the way through it had I not saw you being, consistent in it as well. But yeah, those life trials and tribulations really had us going.
If you don't go to your knees on your own volition, life will bring you to your knees.
Yeah.
And all you could do is like, Lord, if you don't bring me out of this, somebody's getting choked. So stay in your word and stay out of jail. That's how I looked at it.
And it's funny because like some years ago, I know there was conversation within the church, and someone had mentioned us, leading over the marriage ministry. And I was like, no, because I always say no, right?
Right.
And I was like, no, we haven't even been through anything. And now that I
remember
look
that.
at that, I'm like, that is the dumbest thing I could have ever
remember
said.
that. I remember that.
I'm like, we've never been through anything. What are we gonna tell them? And it was like, oh, okay, you haven't been through anything. Oh
Mhm.
my gosh! And then after that, all the storms just kept coming, and I'm like, Lord, am I in a Job moment? So, yeah.
I forgot until you just reminded me that.
We were discussing marriage counseling and how it goes. And so to Shantae's point, like, I think the people who counseled us were maybe married a couple years before we were. But to be able to have multiple counselors where it's maybe a couple of years, then 5 years, then 10 years, just to kind of give you an outlook of how it's going to be instead of just one, set thing would have helped for us. And then I think that marriage counseling in the church helped, but also outside, because there's things that they will talk about outside the church that they don't talk about inside. That I wish that we would have been able to kind of have more of an open conversation and relationship. How do you guys think it went, like, as far as preparing you for marriage, your marriage counseling?
I definitely thought it was beneficial. One thing that, matter of fact, it felt like you were just bringing something up a little bit ago that was told to us in a marriage counselor. We used her pastor at the time, did our premarital counseling. And you were just saying something not too long ago.
He said, don't leave the house.
Yeah.
That was one thing. Like, if you get angry and you're mad at each other, don't leave. Another thing, he was saying that it's important to have one joint account.
So it can't be like, nah, I'm out. Let me go buy my hotel room
Okay,
and whatnot.
just in case of my stash.
Right.
There's one thing he said that, and this was even after our marriage counseling, but in our marriage, keep people out of your marriage, not out of your life, but out of your marriage. And some folks will want to bring, oh, well, I'm going to do this. Let me call my mama and get her opinion, or do this, that, and the other. No, I mean, you can seek help from some folks and whatever, but keep folks out of your marriage. Don't push them away and isolate yourself to where it's just, like say us against the world. And that sounds good, but you need people, but just to keep them out of your marriage. Don't bring them in, give them their 2 cents, and my sister called my wife and now they just cussing each other out and this, that, and that. That's one thing he said that always stick with me. Keep people out of your marriage, but don't keep them out of your life. And that's really helpful because everyone's got an opinion on something, good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah.
But really, when it comes down to it, their opinion don't matter to us. They may view something, they're viewing from the outside looking in. We're in this. So other people's outside opinion who don't know what's going on in here, appreciate you, but we dealing in our bubble.
Yeah, he also said, don't ask your husband for something that he can't give you. And I think he was saying that in a sense of, let's say you're in this time in your life where you are saving money and, you got a certain budget that you have to adhere to. Don't ask your husband for, I don't know, what's a fancy car, $100,000 car, if you're not there yet. He said because his heart would be to get that for you, and he's going to be working night and day and night, to get it for you, and then you'll be like, well, where's my husband? So I tend to think about that too, because I try not to put financial pressures on him. That really is important to me. I try to be content in where I'm at and steward what we have well. Now, if God decides to, allow us to go a little bit higher and do bigger and better, then I'm all for it. But I'm happy with I'm happy with where we are right now and what we have. And so I tend to think about that whenever um I think about our life and what's ahead in 5 years or whatnot, and try not to. Why are you looking at me like that? It's just what.
It's nothing bad, but you said you don't want to put no financial pressure, and I think about how you will, like, your default setting is to pick the less expensive stuff. And I'm thinking about them when you wanted to buy some jeans or something, it was like $15. It's $15. Let's go get them. You're more frugal, which I
am.
appreciate, but sometimes you don't have to be. You don't spend all the money on hair and nails. Which I know can be expensive, but I'm like, we got a little bit of money. We could spend more
And I
on
just have to
stuff.
get out of that, but it stems from how I was raised
Yeah.
too. So I don't want to be in a position where we're trying to figure out, oh, how are we gonna pay the light bill?
I just got my fresh pair of jeans.
Right. So whenever I go to the store, my first thought is, where's the clearance section? And
Buying one ply toilet tissue.
I
I was like, what is this? No, we getting.
But I can't say that I really paid attention to that growing up. It was more of what's on sale,
Right.
So if you don't have a lot of money, then you're going to get with what you can afford.
We live in the suburbs now. We can get good toilet tissue.
I got a question for you, Shanta. So when you guys first got married and say Marcus is the head of the household, as far as like finances, did you feel like you were able to kind of freely spend, or did you feel like you had to call and ask him first? Because in my mind, it was like, oh, he's the head, so he has to have the last say. So I'm like, I gotta call him over $15. I'm trying to get something to eat, like just little stuff like that, where I internalized what I had heard and made it my own thing. Where I was like, I don't have to call him for each and every little thing. I just want to be able to buy something that I want to buy that's not wild to me. And then if it was something I thought that was more expensive, then I would want to go ahead and discuss. But I'm just curious.
I think eventually I'm like, stop calling me about this.
I think when we first got married, we were both working. And so, those roles didn't change until we were having kids. And I'm like, oh, I want to stay at home with the kids and protect them and whatnot. But we were both working, both bringing money into the house. And so earlier on, we established a limit. Like if you think you're going to spend more than this amount, then call me and let me know. And so we seemed to do pretty well with that, but he never really had to worry about it because I was such a frugal spender, and if I spend $100 at Walmart, I'm just like, oh, why? Even now. And it's just, unfortunately, just something I have to kind of work through. Like, okay, it's okay for you to spend a little bit more, but I'm always thinking ahead. I'm thinking about, the kids, Mila's got college coming up. We got to pay for that. And, I just want to make sure that we have what we need. I don't ever want to be in a position to where we're, trying to figure things out.
Because in the beginning, I stayed home with the kids. I think Aaliyah was probably 4 or 5 when I started working. So in my mind, I wasn't doing enough to bring any money in. So I'm like, how am I going to be spending it if I'm not contributing to the household? And so I had a lot of guilt coming in. But my mom, for example, who's been on her own for years, she's like, when I get married, what's mine is mine. Like, I still want my money in my account, and then we can have a joint account together. But if there's something I want to get or I want to go buy, then it won't take away from what we've established.
Right. Yeah. I feel that. I understand that. And I kind of feel that somewhat now, because I am a business owner, and so I'm still building, brick by brick. And so sometimes I'm making a lot. Other days I'm like, where's the money at? And so he has to be stable and make sure that things keep going smooth. So I completely understand, what you mean with that. But I also feel like when we got married, at first we had separate accounts. And we were like, okay, something's got to change.
It took a little bit.
Yeah. And then when we decided to get one joint account, it just seemed like we had money coming from everywhere. And we were like, well, what took us so long to do that?
I think it's just the natural progression of two becoming one.
Yeah.
And you're on your own for so much and not having to be accountable to anybody else about your money. Like, you didn't tell me I work for this. So it's just, I think it's just the natural process of trying to figure that out and navigate how do we do that. And you're right, after we did it, like, oh man, this is a lot easier and easier than what I thought it would be. And really the only thing I'm very meticulous. She may set a budget, but I'm more the one who knows I want to account for every dime that leaves the account. So if she spends money, I've never put any kind of like, hey, you need to check with me or anything. I just want to know what you spend so I know, keep track of it so we know we're not in the hole or something like that. That's my only thing. Other than that, I'm like, you got to spend it, especially nowadays when, groceries may have cost like $100 a while ago, and now it's like 150, close to $200. I get, we're gonna have to spend a little bit more, but I just ask to be let me know what you're spending.
What's your take?
Well, we that I can recall, we've never had separate accounts.
No.
I think from the moment we got together, we had a shared account. Because I hear of people that have been married for like 20 years and still have their separate accounts, and I'm just like,
it's weird.
Yeah, it seems odd to me. Like,
Yeah.
At that point, it doesn't feel like you are actually fully bought into we're one. Because I got mine and you got yours, and I don't know.
And you're like, what are you doing over there?
Yeah, how much you got in your account?
I guess I would say
You're
for
buying
maybe
tonight.
like a divorced woman that's very still has some trust issue where it's like, okay, if something does happen, what's going to happen to me or what's going to happen to my kids?
Yeah.
Like they feel like they need a stash on the side, especially with some women that aren't working. It's like, oh, he's got all this in his hands, and then what about me?
Like you're preparing a what if.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's some just so that they can have that kind of safe space for themselves, especially the ones, like I said, that have been like divorced or single parents moving in. It's like, oh, I've got to have this. There's that just in case. Now, some may, after a while, change their mind and have a different mindset, but I do kind of get where they're coming from.
I think about that scripture. It says, "Where your heart is, your treasure is." And so, if you can't allow your spouse access to your resources, then do they really have your heart? If you're like, okay, you can, it's like you're making a boundary. You're only going to go this far. You ain't going to touch my money. You can, be in the bed with me and all that, but hey, this money, this mine. So I feel like, and so I can't speak for everyone who's doing that, but I just don't see how you can be one where you just, you can't allow them access to what you have. You just want to keep it separate. Oh, it's easier to do whatever. I justify it however you want to. That's just where my mind goes whenever I hear situations like that.
That's a good point.
Yeah. And the thing is, why do you have what you have? Chances are she's taking care of the kids. She's managing the house. She's doing things to allow you to go out and make money and whatever, you're doing. So you kind of have to see it that way as well.
You got my money.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I got a question for y'all. Maybe we can get some pointers out of y'all that we can carry on into our own relationship. But I think sometimes we struggle with life being so busy with the business. Now, before it was the kids, and there's always something, right? But it's like for a while we had like date nights. We would have like a Wednesday night date night where we would just go get dinner or go do something. And we kind of faded off of that. So now we're back in this spot where, we'll go do stuff together, but we don't really have a set time of we're going on a date. Y'all have that figured out? Like, you got something you can offer us that we can get better?
We used to. Whenever we were dating, Tuesday nights
Yep.
was our date night. And if anything interfered with that, or she would get heated. And we were like very intentional that no matter what, you keep that day separate. Nothing goes down. And I used to be a very involved with when I was single, and I was all the more involved in church than I am now. And they would have me, the choir need to come sing here, and you need to come minister there and that. And there's been a few times where it would interfere with our date night, and trying to make up for that or trying to tell her, they want us here at Revival on Tuesday.
Like, who's singing on a Tuesday?
And so I hated even having to break that news to her. But as time has progressed and we've got the kids and everything now we have a family night. We don't have so much a date night, but we're very intentional. Every Friday night is our movie night, or if Micah's in control, game night, because he doesn't like to watch a movie because he wants to be different. So he'll have the game night. But to our best ability, we make sure that family time is sacred, and we don't schedule anything around that time. And even if by chance something does happen fall on it, we'll make up for it the next night. But we'll make sure to have at least one night a week that our family's together. And with the kids being younger, it's a little bit harder for us just to get away for us two. And we live, we live a little bit further away than our family's not really close, and so we can't have them. Hey, you come watch the kids and whatnot. So it takes kind of a lot of planning for us to have our own night for a date night.
Well, it's never a night; it's a date day.
Yeah. Oh, we'll do that. We'll have day dates during the kids when they're in school. We try to, I think we said like once a quarter at least. I'll take off from work, and she'll take off from work, and we'll have a day date. Either that or on our birthdays or something. I'll take off from work and we'll go do that. So yeah, we do that. I like playing hooky from work to go hang out with you.
Now we can definitely do better at that, and be more intentional. Like I said, we did have it on the calendar, but we got to find a new time, new day.
Y'all like the day date thing. Y'all the boss. Y'all should make y'all own schedule.
Man, you would think that having your own business would allow you the freedom to break free and do that more, but right now it just feels like grind mode for the first few years to get to hopefully reach that more freedom point. But I got a boss that won't let me take off.
Slave drivers.
I ain't getting no PTO. I'm looking, where's my benefit package? But now that's something that I think a lot of couples probably struggle with, is just continuing to do things together, to carve out time to really, spend that alone time and kind of break free of, even when you got kids. I know we were even worse at it when the kids were younger, because it was like y'all just said, it's that much more of you really got to plan it out. You got to have sitters. It's just a lot. So,
especially those kids were very active. It seemed like Ben was in every sport there was: football, baseball, basketball, polo. He was doing a lot. So yeah, y'all schedule, I imagine, was pretty busy.
Yeah, our idea of a date night was like going to the restaurant after the basketball tournament on Saturday night. That was about as good as it was going to get. Our vacations were a lot of times basketball trips. Not that we take a separate vacation, but those are kind of like little mini vacations. So, man, thank the Lord. we got through it. Those were some good times, but I'm glad our weekends are freed up. Once again, now we just fill them with work again, but now we get to sit down and do podcasts and occasionally go on some dates.
Mm-hmm. I've been trying to find different stuff for us to do, kind of out of our comfort zone. So
she's the event coordinator, so I blame her when we don't have a date on the calendar.
Yeah,
you do seem pretty good at just finding new stuff, though. Because if it were up to, and we do stuff with the kids still, and she'll find some pretty fun stuff to do. But if it was left up to me or either of the kids, we would never do nothing. So I thank God for your
Homebodies.
efforts.
and try to find something that they can do that's physical and active, so that they're not just doing this.
Lord, them screens. Now, our kids they use theirs, but they're not so much just doom scrolling or whatever. They, at least Mila, and to a lesser extent Micah, he's just not getting around to it. They'll make videos and editing and whatnot, not just like watching Cocomelon or whatever the kids watch nowadays. So they're looking at it, but they're being productive with it, and it's kind of even allowed them to, Mila allowed her to be on her like school's news team, next year, and she's learning about it even right now. And Micah, he's made starting to dip his toe into editing, and he's making videos with Mario and all this kind of stuff. So they're I like them to be a little bit more active, but if they're looking down at the screens, at least they're using their imagination and creativity to produce something that's in their mind. And I'll show you their music video that they made, and so they're, even if they're not outside playing like how we used to growing up and outside riding bikes, at least they're still using their brain. So they're being productive.
I have to throw that music video on the tail end of this one.
Now we might have to get a licensing, because the "Here Comes the Money" is an actual song, so
okay.
we have to get some clearances for that. But
We'll get a strike.
Right.
I was gonna say that I think it was a few years ago, we both had jars, and we would write things that we wanted, places we wanted to go, things we wanted to do, little gifts or whatnot. And we would write it on pieces of paper and put it in the jar. So whenever, Mark thought about me and he's like, I want to do something nice for my wife, he would go in that jar and then just randomly pick it out and then, provide me with whatever it is that I was asking for. So I like that. I thought it was a good idea.
We can get back to it.
Yeah.
Make sure that it is very intentional about what you want, what you needed or expected from us. So we're not just sitting there looking at each other and that's it, but that we're actually being active and showing affection and whatever your love language. I don't know all that.
Quality time.
Yeah.
I feel like I would struggle to fill a jar with.
It takes some. It really takes some thinking.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not all that, she's big. Oh, sorry, she's big on romance, and I'm like, I can't think of a whole lot of romantic things, but it really pushes you to broaden your horizons and do some research. Like, hey, they might like that and whatnot. So it really pushes you to explore as opposed to just like, oh, well, I'm gonna just bring some candy and flowers. Right? That might work the first time, but fourth time around, they can only eat so much chocolate, and so it's a good idea, but it really pushes you to think outside the box a bit.
Yeah,
you put like shoulder rub and.
Oh yeah, I can fill it up with those.
So, is there anything that I feel like this is the first question I've asked y'all? I think we were just talking. Is there anything or any moment that you guys, either one of you, thought that this was a defining moment, that this is the one for me? Like, I have no question. after this experience, if I had a question, the question's gone. Was there a moment for that for y'all?
I have several, but the one where my brother, we lived with him. So my uncle Bryant had lived in Overland, Earl Latha, and Terrell had lived with him. And so Ben was doing an internship up here for DS Construction, and we lived. So we moved in with him, took my uncle's spot, and then Terrell ended up having to live with us. And when he did, it was like an agreement for so long that kind of went longer than it was supposed to. Then I'm feeling like I'm the person in the middle. Like, now I got to talk to my brother, and then is he going to help with this or that? But Ben just kind of like let it ride. And it's always before him was just me, my mom, and my brother. Like we were always together, very close. I looked at my brother as if my father figure, so I was like, we can't just leave my brother behind in my mind. We didn't have any kids or anything then, but that was one of the defining moments. And then the way he helps with my mom, like when there's things that she needs, whether it's her help with her car or anything, like he just steps up and steps in.
Man, defining moments. It's been incremental moments. I don't know that there was just like one moment at the beginning where it's like this is it. Other than the fact that, like I said earlier, I knew my marriage was the furthest thing from what I was planning for myself. But the Lord put it in my heart to get married, and I'm like, so at that moment when I knew she's the one, and I knew it wasn't my own thought process because I had no desire for that. That was probably the moment where I'm like, man, this is a God thing. But then it's just kind of been reinforced time after time over the course of our whole marriage. So there's like steps to it, and I don't really have a at this particular point, but I can remember, like, you get married. This is my own experience, so maybe not everybody's like this, but you get married and we've got the greatest of intent, right? We're doing this thing. We're going to spend our lives together. But I think there's certain stages that you go through where after a while, again, I can't pinpoint a time, but there was certainly a point in time where I just took a step back and I'm like, oh, we're really going to do this thing. Like, this is for real, for real. Like, not that when we got married, I wasn't fully invested in it, but it was just like after going through this for years, and then taking a step back and looking at where we were at, it's just like, well, this is, we're ride or die. And so I reaching that point, I think it just kind of does something different. But it was a culmination of just all the going. Most of it revolves around going through some valleys, and you being there to help through those situations, or us just bonding together to get through whatever it was. We've had a number of people in our families pass away or get sick, or we've had to at times step up and care for loved ones that couldn't care for themselves. And so I think when you go through those type of things, I mean, you get to really see we're really doing this together, because it's nothing nobody ever signed up for, but it just like dropped on you. And so, I mean, you could, if you're not with the right one, I'm certain that people have gone through similar situations and they're looking around for help, and the help is not there. And so that's never been our experience. Is like, she's going through something, I'm there. If I'm going through something, she's there. My aunt had a stroke, and there was nobody really there to care for her, and she's right alongside me. We're doing things that I would never have imagined. We're shuffling through her mail, trying to figure out, all the things she can't remember because of the stroke. We're trying to figure out how to help her, and we're going to her apartment, cleaning things up, and it was a heavy load. So, could I have gotten through it by myself? Thankfully, I'd never have to answer that question because you were there with me.
There was a time I thought I was going to literally lose my mind and just like depleted. Like I can't do anything else but just sit here and try to process this stuff and process these thoughts and talk to God and just be with Him and seek Him and just for Him just to be there, but not put pressure on me. Like we got this, and it. Like I need you to show up in this kind of way. What about for y'all?
Did you have a moment? I had plenty moments.
Your moment was at the Granite City,
Right.
Or
she walks in the door and
he's like, "That's it.
Yeah.
She's the one."
Or it was at the we went to the Ben Condition concert.
Oh yeah.
We were I don't know how we got into like the VIP or the preferred stuff because that wasn't our tickets.
No.
We wound up in the seats like, oh yeah, this is a good place here. And we eventually got kicked out because we had in somebody else's seats. So we had to go into like the general admission where folks were standing up. And just the time we had there, I was like, that wasn't the same night as when we was playing Guitar Hero in my apartment.
Yeah.
And just spending time with her. Like I said, it was nothing there was no I'm trying to be PG because my kids are right here. It was nothing going down that lane. And just to enjoy her presence the way that I did. I was like, I want this for the rest of my life. I want to be able to be myself, to be with someone who I didn't feel like she didn't want nothing from me but me. And I was like, this is just the best. I want this forever. And the way we were just laughing and joking and just enjoying each other's presence, I was like, this is it. I could not fathom any other female on this planet that made me feel in that moment like she did. And so I was like, this is it. I don't care if I had to, make a ring out of a paper clip or something. I need to put a ring on this woman's hand. And, there's, like you said, incrementally, there's been times during the course of us being together that further confirmed that, yes, this was a God thing. This wasn't a good idea. This was a God idea. And, just throughout different instances in our life where she's been there for me, I've been there for her, to where I could not see that it would have gone how it did with anybody else. I'm more than convinced that, this was God's doings and it's marvelous in our eyes.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think just kind of touching back on what I had mentioned earlier about just receiving prophecies about him before he even came and literally being able to view it and compare who's in front of me and what was said. And he matched up. And then on top of that, my mom is so important to me because I didn't have my dad. He had passed away. I kind of leaned on her to help me make the decision of, should I go a little bit further with him? And my mom, Lord bless her heart, she is
Love you, Mama.
right. She can be very skeptical or suspicious of people. My mom didn't have anything to say about him. Nothing. She loved him.
Her family welcomed me. There was no like in-law stuff between, she got older brothers and aunts and everybody else. No one gave me any static. They just rolled out the red carpet for me. It was like, come on, take her. I don't know if they was trying to get her off her hands, but
It sounded like they was your cheerleaders, like
absolutely.
They were.
There was one instance when one of her aunts, we were like, I forget where we were, but Shanta had walked in the building before me, and it was like her aunt, and me, like walking in line into this building. She'd walked in, and before her aunt walked in, she like pushed me out of the line to walk into this building. I'm like, oh goodness, pushed her up against the wall. Like, when are you going to propose to her? And so I was like, just chill. I'm gonna do it. Just give me some time. So, but yeah, her family has always been so welcoming to me, and I've had no. Some folks are like, oh, my mother-in-law, and that's not been my story. Her family has been nothing but loving, and especially her uncle, who just loves our children, loves Mila and Micah, calls Mila a little time out, and calls Micah his big man. So their family has just embraced me and loves our children, just loves our union. So that was definitely a plus.
Yeah, but I think my defining moment is when you proposed.
Oh yeah, okay. With the thing on your okay.
He proposed to me. It was on a Tuesday. And he put that ring on my finger, and it felt like a ring of fire. And it just felt like God had literally put his hand down and blessed it. And when we use the word defining, for me, that was the defining moment. So I had all these little things leading up to it, and I knew this is who I wanted to be with. But when we got to that point, I knew for sure this is it.
There's Holy Ghost in that ring.
Yeah, no, for real.
There's a quickening when you put, hey!
He put that thing in the microwave before he pulled it out.
Is that what's going on, Marcus?
I was like, you see me, you know how that goes. I had that ring in my pocket all day long. I initially was going to propose on New Year's Eve, and I think I was just like, nah, I might as well just do it now. Because I was thinking, because everybody does stuff on New Year's, they're expecting that. So let's just do it on a random Tuesday on one of our date nights. And I was so I was anticipating it, but I had no reason to keep the thing in my pocket all day long. It was like from the time that I got dressed in the morning, I had that ring in my pocket, and I was just ready to do it. But I was ready, but I was kind of scared at the same time. I didn't think she would say no, but then I was like, man, what if she says no? And I was kind of anxious a little bit, but I was chomping at the bit, like, okay, just about 10 minutes, it's about to go down. And I was just waiting on it, and finally did it, and happily ever after.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Obviously, you remember when I proposed, but did you know I was gonna do it that night?
No, I know we had talked about it. Like, we had picked out rings and stuff. I don't know how soon before. I kind of showed you what I liked and what I wanted, but we went to the Skies downtown. But I didn't know that you were going to propose. I was thinking about that because I was like, ooh, I remember I borrowed one of Erica's dresses, and she helped me get ready and stuff like that. But I didn't know that was the moment.
Yeah. When you get back up there to Skies, they open it up every holiday season now, I think.
Now.
But it was the one that would spin, but I don't even think it spins anymore. I think they broke. But thank you, Jesus. Yep, she said yes. The rest is history. But what else we got?
I feel like I had something. I had something in the chamber to ask, but I don't remember what it was. You got something?
I'm sure I'll come up with something.
After the fact, we be driving back home like, I should have asked that.
I don't have a question, but I was telling Ben, I don't know if he remembers, but on our wedding day, it's either after you gave your speech or we were getting ready to leave, Marcus had kissed me on my forehead. And I was like, who is this Marcus? Like, I remember Marcus as a big brother, funny Marcus, but to see the softer side of him just made me see you in a totally different way.
And whenever I first heard about y'all, I was like, what? It just seemed so different to me. I'm like, Ben and Markeda, I really wish I could articulate it how I felt. I was like, I'm like brother and sister. How's this gonna work? And after because I was going to Air Force and come back and see y'all, and I'm like, I guess this is like a real thing. But after I got past the initial like, there was no question. And I was thinking, well, there's absolutely no way that this doesn't work because we've known each other since like toddlers. So if there was anybody who I knew was like, okay, this is a slam dunk choice, it was y'all two. And it's just like how we were saying earlier, because there's been friendship forever, so there's no like real surprises. And I knew that um, Sister Regina and Terrell could trust you with her, and man, I thought there couldn't have been a better choice. Um, and I was all for. I was so happy for y'all after, like I said, after the initial like, that's odd, but yeah, I was so happy for y'all, and man, to see y'all over 2 decades later, and what you all have accomplished in that time together, and so y'all. Uh, I say empty nesters with an asterisk.
Right.
The nest is still full.
Man, it gives folks an example of what to shoot for and to do things the right way. And man, I said we're a little bit behind y'all, but man, I'd be asking y'all, how to make it through and what's y'all secret. And if there's anybody that I would ask a couple how to navigate through certain seasons, I definitely ask y'all, because I feel like you all have you've navigated through matrimony pretty masterfully, and yeah, God definitely got the right thing together with you all too. And I even before I got married, like, man, Ben's been married now, and I got to get married too. He's got his wife, so now I got to go find me one, and it took me a little bit to find one, but I feel like I got his best for me.
Do you guys believe in the one?
I can't see another one. Like, you know what I mean? When like, God has definitely exceeded all my expectations. Like, I really thought this and that, but the way He has, like, I know that Ben is for me. Yeah, I do. I guess I've never really been asked that question, that I do believe in the one. And if God forbid, like, He goes on before I did, I don't see myself getting married again. Like, I'm done.
Mm-hmm. That's what I said. I'm gonna be. Lord forbid something happens and I'm no longer here on this earth. I'd be doggone if somebody gonna come up and live in my house, sleep in my bed.
So Marcus, I'm coming back as a ghost.
Yes, I'm coming rattling chains. Ooh, get out! So ain't gonna be no peace up in here. Yeah, it's. I don't see another person being called Mrs. Green in my life. Maybe another Mrs. Green for Micah, but not for me.
Yeah, I think I agree. I do believe that God's got one for you. Just got to be patient. In our case, we didn't have to be too patient because it happened way early. Sometimes I look back and I'm just like, I'm surprised that we didn't see more resistance from really anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I can't recall any real resistance to, like, first and foremost, you're 19, I'm 21. Like, you guys are too young to be doing this. And then secondly, we're in little country town, the obvious, well, how are you guys going to merge? You got black and white coming together. And do you really want to do that? Because there was plenty of that going on, plenty of resistance racially in a small town. And so I just feel super blessed to there can't be very many people on the planet that can say that. I mean, we were basically family before we were family.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't recall a time, so I'm assuming you probably can't recall a time where you didn't know me. So I mean, we've been together before we were together.
Right.
I mean, it's a script you can't write for yourself, you know.
Yeah.
And what are the chances of? I mean, it all just is. We had a lot of these conversations when we had Travis on, just talking about how God ordained certain things. And it's like this one little thing or that one little thing. It's like, how did? Well, I know the answer to this, but I'll say it and then answer the question. How did my mother, Phyllis Miller at the time, end up in Jesus Chapel Pentecostal Church, and how did that church find its way into little country town Cameron, Missouri?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was my mom working at Casey's with your dad who invited her to Jesus Chapel.
Yeah.
And now here we are doing podcasts. And
how does Sister Regina come from Plattsburgh to Cameron, and how she hear about that? And man, there's so many what ifs. Like, what if it hadn't happened that way? Happened this way, and this, that, and the other. And man, how God orchestrates stuff is so beautiful.
Yeah.
What if, Naja had not if he had not been my pastor, if I had not been at Jesus Chapel, I would not know Elder Johnson. I wouldn't have known Naja. Naja could have suggested me to you.
And if I've never known my, childhood best friend and gone to that school,
or if you were, because she was sick the day of our first
that
date.
too. Yeah.
What if you were like, you know what, I'm too sick. I'll just bow out of this one. And who's to say that I would have been like, give her another chance to get better or anything else? There's so many things that if you take one piece away, it's like that movie, Butterfly Effect, where you just change something and who knows where life would have taken you.
So much stems back to Jesus Chapel. It's just, I know we were texting the other day, like, I really never really thought about this previously, but after I drove by there the other day, and then you and I were texting about that place, and we had talked about how run down it looks, and I just like, man,
it's like a junk store or something.
Yeah, they sell antiques out there. I'm like, Lord, if you could open up an opportunity to buy that place back, man.
You know, Pastor Ben.
I don't know about all that.
Right.
That's a whole nother leap. But there's the Spirit of God is residing in that place, and I believe it's still there. And so I would love to get back in there and put it back.
Get the baptism pool back in there.
His memory's so vivid, like we could put it back exactly.
It's like it's seared in my brain, man. I could tell you the pews in it, and for whatever reason that there's like a bookshelf back there with all these old books. In a glass case. I don't know if they were hymnals or what, but man, that little tapestry that was on behind the chairs, the little thing that my mom knitted. We've come this far by faith across there, and that velvet sheet over the baptism pool, which is like a horse trough.
Was that red?
It was red, yo.
They had that. My mom did that. They used to call it like pretty punch, but she was like, you take this yarn and punch it through some cloth, and she made the thing on the pulpit said "welcome."
Yep.
And then she did one that looked like Jesus, and she brushed the yarn out so his beard didn't look like yarn; it looked like actual hair.
Man, that place.
Did I ever get whooping? I said, if anybody knows Marcus, you would know. You would remember. I was pretty quiet, so I don't really remember getting a whooping up in there.
And then everyone would hear the whoopings.
Yeah.
First they'd see mom or dad dragging them to the bathroom.
You already knew what was going on. Everybody else, anybody not getting a whooping is over there like laughing, looking at each other like, oh, they got to get tore up.
They either go in the bathroom or go in the little hallway before the bathroom, where they used to sit the kids for Sunday school on that one little bench in there. So, yeah. Country living.
You have to get Terrell to start mowing the grass like he had to back then down there.
Or when they first planted them trees,
Mm-hmm.
and we was running and trying to jump over them trees. Them things are like huge now. They still there?
I don't remember. Surely.
Racing around the block, race up to that alley in between Come and Go, and down that back alley with Napa, the auto parts store and whatnot. Man, that place is just it's seared in my brain.
Mm-hmm. I still remember C3 out there on that side, beside the church. He would do like backflip after backflip.
Whenever they'd have like the adults having a meeting in there, and all the kids would be outside, and sometimes we hold on to our offering money and walk up to Come and Go and play the video games or buy some drinks or whatever after church.
I like the way you said that. That was a nice way of saying stole the offering money. Hold on to it. Yeah, your mom give you $1 to put in. Like, I'm gonna go give you some of them pizza tasting chips.
Oh,
combos, I think.
Yes. I felt very bad. I found one time a bag of them combos, like unopened outside. I was like, let me get some of these. Open them things up and ate them. It was so gross. I was ashamed of myself.
Back then, or this is when
even back then, I knew, even though it was closed, I was like, yeah, it'll be all right. Nah, it was still, you're eating just a random bag of combos laying outside. But I always wanted them.
Yeah, I got them every time we went to the Come and Go. It was that Street Fighter 2 on that arcade machine.
And then moved up to Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Going there Wednesday nights from boxing practice. Come and Go would be on the stop on the way to church. So there's church, Come and Go, the YMCA every Wednesday.
Y'all getting off track.
We are way off track.
And really, okay, I was checking the time. It's been over 2 hours.
Yeah?
It has been.
Y'all got any closing remarks? Anything for the audience?
Not off the top of my head.
God is good.
All the time.
I would encourage marriage for anybody that knows that God's brought the right one. I think today a lot of people are less apt to want to even pursue marriage, but it's a good thing when it's God ordained. So highly encourage it. And I think, we're going to keep brainstorming. I know Keita briefly mentioned it, but I've actually, I don't know if I shared this with you or not. I did offer our services for some premarital counseling for a couple. It's been a month or two ago, but I am interested in helping couples that are considering marriage. And so if anybody's watching and is interested in just getting an outside point of view, we'd be happy to help. And I do think that over time, if that ministry grows, we will attempt to do exactly what you were saying, which is kind of set people up with an opportunity to speak to somebody that's been married for 5 years, and somebody that's been married for 15, and then 25, and then, Lord willing, we can find some folks that have been doing it for 50. It's a whole avenue of different trials and tribulations that we go through. And, I think our counseling that we had served us well for, the experience that the folks that counseled us had at the time. But I think the enemy nowadays is trying to tear up families more so than ever, trying to take men out of households. and anything we can do to combat the enemy, I'm down for it. So reach out if there's anybody watching that is interested in something like that. We're here to help. And for those that don't know, my wife is a certified Christian life coach, so she's got all the training and certificate that I don't have. I'm just old school with a little experience. So,
and my wife, she just saves, so she just tell you Jesus and that's it. Ain't got no papers behind her, just Jesus
For counseling.
But I got degrees.
Yeah, and HR.
hey, there's some HR situations that come into play with some couples as well.
Well, ladies, we thank y'all for joining us today, and we anticipate that this will not be the last time that you're on anything Lion of Judah affiliated, whether it be this show or y'all's own. We talked about it before we left the house.
Yeah, when's the ladies only show?
That'd be good.
Yeah.
Y'all heard it here. Y'all hold it to them. Y'all hold them to it. Yeah. But as we do with every episode, you know how we get out of here. Study to show ourselves approved unto God, a workman that needs not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. 2 Timothy, 2nd chapter, 15th verse. God bless you.
God bless y'all.
Faith music.
Back in my past, I was caught up in the chase. Late nights, bar tabs, mostly a blur to retrace. Girls came and went, left my heart in the night. Empty promises stacking, was what I thought. Grew up in a broken home, mom's crying alone. Pop's not around, leaving me to roam. Told myself I'd be different, but I followed in stride. Hurting those I cared for, pushing away those who by my side. One night, broke down, felt the weight on my waist. Hit my knees, prayed hard, God show me some grace. Saw his plan for the real man and women aligned.
Purity's the call, leaving the game behind.
No more chasing the flesh, cut a cycle for good. Started building my soul, like he said that I should. Knew she need a man to lead, and who's rooted in truth. Needed discipleship, am I in a man groove?
For life,
Yeah.
in his plan we unite. Man and woman living pure in the light.
Hold it down, hey.
Love that's real, built to stay. For life,
Yeah.
Christ leads the way. For life,
Yeah.
vows we keep never stray. Rooted deep, growing stronger every day.
Hold it down, hey.
Hearts joined to obey. For life,
Yeah.
his design come what may.
Looked in the mirror, saw a man needing work. Had to face my sins and stop hiding all the hurt. World told me take it all, live fast, don't wait. But that path let me go, just a cycle of hate. God's word hit different, show me what to become. Live with strength, not pride, lift her up and make her strong. She's called to be wisdom, a crown with a grace. Share the same vision, both together seeking his face. Started praying for focus, cut the noise from my life. Build my heart for her, pray for her as my wife. No rush for the ring, but I'm training for the role. Serving leader in his will, steady taking control. She's growing too, holding fast to her worth. Not swayed by the world, knowing what she deserves. We're shaping for the vow, his design as a frame. Man and woman in sync, glorifying his name.
For life, yeah, in his plan we unite. Man and woman living pure in the light. Hold it down, eh? Love that's real, built to stay. For life, yeah, Christ leads the way. For life, yeah, vows we keep never stray. Rooted deep, growing stronger every day. Hold it down, eh? Hearts joined to obey. For life, yeah, his design come what may.
Standing at the altar, eyes locked, hearts in tune, vows sealed tight. Under Christ, we both glued. Years of waiting paid off, kept the promise intact. Pure love, built slow, now it's real, that's a fact. We walk as one, with his order in view. I lead with humility, she supports what we do. No battle for control, just a bond that's secure. Christ, the foundation, keeping love that endure. See my parents' mistakes, so I break that curse. Build a home with her, putting God's call first. Every day is a choice, love deeper than the flesh. Humble hearts align, keep the union refreshed. Kids might come, we'll show them the way. Live his design, teach them truth every day. For life's a legacy, not just words that we say. In his love we're complete, walking his holy way.
For life,
Yeah,
in his plan we unite. Man and woman living pure in the light.
hold it down, ay.
Love that's real, built to stay. For life,
Yeah,
Christ leads the way. For life,
yeah.
vows we keep never stray. Rooted deep, growing stronger every day. learn to obey. For life, His design come what may. His design come what may. For life, His design.